Hey, Tony Gaskins here. Now, doing an extended version of the video I posted earlier about why do men emotionally cheat? And when I can, I'm going to do the short versions for the people who have a small window of time or a short attention span. And then I'll do a longer version for those who like the long form videos and, try to please everybody. Remember, I told you about the curse of being a people pleaser. But here's one thing. Now, I had the opportunity, fortunately, to see some feedback from the video earlier. And one of the things that men or women will always say is we always look for the perfect case scenario. And one of the things we do is we say, hey, I saw a lot of women say, oh, a woman could be everything to a man, could be everything he needs. And the man still will go out and be emotionally cheat because he's just a low character person, just a sorry guy. And that can be true. That can be true. But what you have to realize is if I'm doing a video on it, I'm not talking about the perfect case scenario. I'm explaining a situation where it's happening for a reason. It would be a waste of time to talk about something just to be talking about it if everything is perfect. And so what you also have to realize is that no one is everything that somebody needs. No one of us can be everything somebody needs. It's humanly impossible. So no matter how great of a partner we think we are, or no matter how much we do for a partner, it will never be enough because we don't know really what they want. And even when they say what they want, we still don't know exactly how to do it. And even when we do it, if they were us, they would do it differently. So first understand that. So the problem really lies with the man who, let's say a woman is, meaning she's doing everything we can imagine, and a man still goes and emotionally cheats, then it still falls within him not being able to express and communicate what it is he needs and what it is he wants. And so that still would fall under his immaturity or him not being in love. And I believe that was number 3 when I was talking about it earlier, him not being in love. And so when you think about this and you start to, put this together, this is what happens when a woman is everything for a man. Like she's doing everything we can think of. Like we say cooking, cleaning, sleeping with them, words of affirmation, being submissive, the word that people will use, and it's kind of a misunderstood word. Whatever you come up with that you feel would be something good for a woman to do for a man, if he still goes out and emotionally cheats, then it's because he's not in love. Now that does not mean, it also does mean that he's not a real man. Because if he's not in love and a person is giving him all of them, then what he should do is he should break up and say, this isn't for me, this isn't working, and he should leave. That's what he should do. But again, we're not here for that. We're talking about why it's happening and what is happening in the relationship. Because if he left instead of emotionally cheating, then we wouldn't have this question. So for the sake of the work we're trying to do here, if you see this video, just understand that for the rest of the videos, that we're not talking about perfect case scenarios. We're talking about real world experiences. Okay. So understand that and just save your time in the comments with all the extra. And let's stay focused to understand why this is happening. Because if you understand it, it doesn't mean that it's going to change it. But what it will do is help you give yourself closure so you can move on, so that you don't have to blame yourself. Now, listen, it is true that sometimes people, well, not sometimes, a lot of times when people do things, when a man does something, he will find a way to blame it on the woman. So he will find a way to say, well, oh, she didn't cook. That's why I started emotionally cheating. Or she wouldn't sleep with me. That's why I started emotionally cheating. Or she would yell at me. She would always have something to say. She would always discount my ideas. She would always disrespect me. That's why I started emotionally cheating. And then the question asked, well, why don't you just leave? Oh, well, because we have kids together, or because we have history together, or because everybody loves us together, but they don't see the disrespect behind closed doors. So just to have an outlet, have a release, he says he started to emotionally cheat. So that does happen. Again, that does happen. And men have that reasoning. They have that excuse for why they did it, or that explanation for why they did it, however you take it. And so at the end of the day, what the woman has to understand is like, hey, if she's trying to communicate, and she's trying to be everything that he needs, and she's trying to get him to be everything she needs, and she's trying to get this relationship on the right foot, going in the right direction, but it's not working. He's not allowing it to work. He's not communicating. He's not opening up. He's not being transparent. And then he goes and he emotionally cheats. Then she has to find it within herself, the strength within herself to leave. And then when she leaves, she can move on. She can move on. She can wash her hands and she can say, hey, I did everything that I knew how to do. I pulled out all stops. I tried everything, tried to talk, listen to a coach on YouTube, tried to talk to him, tried to communicate, bent over backwards, went above and beyond, went the extra mile, and still got cheated on. I can wash my hands. I'm done. That person wasn't the person for me. That's what she should do and has to do in that situation. But when you really start to dig deep in there, the biggest reason, and I know I went through some reasons earlier, but it's not necessarily in order when I'm doing that, because the reasons I kind of jot them down off the top of my head, or sometimes I'm not even jotting them down. It's just what I'm saying. But the biggest reason, and it's coming from a male, the biggest reason is insecurity. A man being insecure within himself. And here's what I mean by insecurity. Not having been affirmed. The man has never been affirmed, or he hasn't been affirmed enough. So as humans, and I don't know if women are like this, but the way men are is men love to hear that we're doing a good job, that we're great, that we can be great, that we're smart, that we're handsome, that we're ambitious, that we're brave. Like, men love to hear compliments. Men love to hear those things. I don't know if women have the same need, but we live in a society where men do not get compliments. Like, men are not supposed to be complimented because that would be soft. And when we get compliments as men, we don't know how to accept the compliments. We don't know how to receive it. So we brush it off. We ignore it. We don't embrace it. We don't accept it. Oh, hush. Oh, don't say that. Hey, stop. Hey, stop all that. Stop all that. Girl, hush. And then the woman may take it serious and not say it anymore. I remember my dad, if you say something good to him, he jokingly would come back a little later. Hey, Tony, Hey, tell me again what you said about them ribs. What you said about them ribs I cooked? All right. Boy, hey, well, listen here. Well, that sound good. Now, hold on. When your mama come back over here, I'm gonna have you tell me one more time what you said. And he would kind of jokingly do that, but I knew he was serious. Like he really needed that. Deep down, he needed that. And so I got that from my dad. So now I do that. I ask if I get a compliment from one of my sons. I ask them, hey, what you said again? I ask them again. I do that what my dad did. And I tell my wife, I be trying to tell my wife all the time, like, baby, listen, don't nothing what another woman say to me mean nothing to me. Like I see thousands of women online say, Tony, thank you. I let it go in one ear and out the other. I don't sit on it. I appreciate it, but I don't sit on it and hold on to it. And you know what I mean? I can't do that because it's coming from another woman. I will be enjoying the praise of another woman. So what I have to do is I said, baby, I need to hear sometimes like, man, that was a great idea. Man, you a genius. Man, you want to hear that as a man. And so what happens is the men who see, I will tell my wife, this is what I need. And that's not really her personality. She's not really like that. But the reason why is because her dad isn't like that. Her mom isn't like that. Her culture isn't like that. She's Jamaican. When you go to Jamaica, you kind of see a hustle and a bustle. You see a lot of hard workers. You see a lot of grind. Certain areas, of course, like everywhere, it's a lot of crime. It's a tough people. The women tough, the men tough. It ain't a whole bunch of mushy. If it's mushy, that's a exception to the rule over there in that culture. And the same thing when you look at Black American culture a lot of times. Like anybody who done gone through some hardships in their race, in their culture, in their country, whatever, it ain't a lot of mushy words of affirmation. It's like, and I just read a quote the other day. It says, sometimes a person says, I love you by saying, be careful, be safe. Call me when you get home. And I showed that to my wife. I say, this remind me of your mom. Because that's how she is. Her mom, my wife's mom, she worry about her daughter. Like if me and her daughter will be, me and my wife, her daughter, I gotta say her daughter. I can't say my wife when I'm talking about her mama. Me and her daughter will be in the bed taking a nap. Her mama will call. If her daughter don't answer a couple times, she used to come over, just show up unannounced. And I had to get on to my wife and say, look, you got to talk to your mama now. You grown. What if I'm in there blowing your bike out and your mama at the door knocking? And I ain't say blowing your back out, but I said, what if we in the room, we doing something, and your mama at the door knocking? I said, listen, you got to get her in check now. But that's her mom's love. But when her mama see her, she give her a church hug. Like she give her a church hug. And so in our world, it ain't a lot of mushy. And so, and especially for men. So think about this, mothers and fathers, when you raising your sons. Like my young son, now I don't kiss my 14-year-old son. My young son, I kiss on him. When my older son was younger, I kiss on him. I kiss him right on the cheek, hug him in tight, squeeze him, kiss him on the cheek. My young son, he just be just smiling. That's how my older son used to be too when he was younger. Now my older son, it changed. It's weird to him. I still hug him though. I hug him. I give him a tight hug. If we standing out somewhere, he'll come hug me. I mean, he wrap his hands around me, all the way around me, just standing there, just hugging me. So I hug my son, so he get to feel love. He get to feel masculine energy. So he taught to express himself. And this is what you have to realize. A lot of men are not taught to express themselves. So a man will go out looking for the balm, BALM, the soothing balm. A man will go out there looking for the consolation, looking for that love. And what happens is a woman with a man, she gets complacent. Just like a man with a woman gets complacent. So in a relationship, we get complacent. But none of us want our partner to get complacent. But we do. We get complacent and we stop doing the things we did to get the person. And so what happens with men, and this could go both ways, but for the sake of the question I received, that's why I'm answering it this way. So, and I also don't know why a woman would emotionally cheat because I'm not a woman. So with the man, it's his insecurity. And he's literally emotionally cheating just to see if another woman would like him. If another woman thinks he's handsome. If another woman thinks he has game. If another woman could see anything good in him. Commercial break. My son's alarm going off in his room. I'll be back. They ain't getting on my nerves. Sorry about that. Son alarm going off. So think about this. It's really the insecurity. Now, the question is that a woman's fault? No, it's not a woman's fault. This is just the explanation for why it happens. So it's important for a woman to, when you go into a relationship, when you get ready to go into a relationship with a man, it's important that a woman learns about men. Get all the information you could get about men. And the same goes the other way around, that a man learns about a woman. Now, we can't guarantee that a man is going to take time to learn about a woman. But if you ask this question and you're watching this video, then you still need to make sure that you know as a woman about a man. And then in that relationship, he's going to learn about you as a woman. But when you understand this, you understand that most men are insecure. You understand that most men have low self-esteem. That most men don't need to be knocked off a high horse because we're not on a high horse. That society has already made us feel like crap, like less than, especially a minority man. And so you understand that. And when you understand that, then you're able to say, okay, when y'all get into a real relationship and you trust this man, is when you can begin to open up and be vulnerable in the sense of speaking life into him, affirming him. Even if he has not told you that's what he needs. But if you, in talking to him, can see his upbringing, you can see his background, you can see what he's gone through, what he's been through, then you're able to look and say, okay, I see why he is closed in. I see why he doesn't express himself. I see this when I look at his history and his biography. I get it. And at that point, now you're able to say, okay, all right. So you then, if the woman is the more cultured or knowledgeable, wise, experienced, then whoever has that side, sometimes it's the man, sometimes it's the woman, that person takes the lead. And so if I understand something about love and relationships that my wife doesn't understand, I have to do that. So me being a man, I understand how we respond. And I have a conversations throughout my marriage with my wife, and I'll say, listen, she's not the type to tell me what I'm doing wrong or what I could do better. So I have to go and ask her and say, hey, so for us, it's kind of the opposite. My wife is not a type of woman that's over talkative and that's over expressive because of how she was raised. So she was raised more like a boy than a girl. And so I have to understand that. And my parents broke the gender roles, or not gender roles, but my dad encouraged me to express myself. He let me express myself, and he didn't slap me in the mouth for back talking. He let me express myself as long as it stayed respectful. And now a couple times I got disrespectful and he checked me immediately. Boy, don't you ever in your life, listen, I let you express yourself. I let you tell, but boy, don't you ever. And he'll get with me, and I'm like, oh, okay, all right, okay, all right. And I got to get on in line. My wife, she was raised more so parent, their way or the highway. Shut up. You ain't no expressing, ain't no back talking. No, you can't go to the movie. Don't ask me why. That's how she was raised. So in our relationship, I have to understand this. So this is typically inverted though. So you have to realize if this man isn't the type to express his hurt, his feelings, his needs, his wants, then you have to kind of make it like a game. In this, not a game in the sense of a game, but like game night. Like you may get a card game for couples where you go and you express that. You express that, and the card say, hey, tell me what's your ideal day with your spouse. Tell me what are some things you would love your spouse to say. Like you create that exercise and you take initiative and you do that. And this is the thing, this is a part of a relationship that we don't want. This is a part of a relationship that we don't want to do. Like we don't want to do this because we feel like that's too much work. And if that's how you feel, then you're not ready to be in a relationship, because a relationship is work. And sometimes it's the man having to do the work, and sometimes it's the woman having to do the work, and sometimes both do the work. But when somebody takes initiative and does the work, then the other person sees what the work looks like and what kind of work goes into it. But if you had the privilege of being raised and seeing in a two-parent home, or you had the privilege of getting knowledge like this online on YouTube, then you have an advantage. You have an unfair advantage that your partner may not have. And that's why you become the teacher by doing. It would be better for you to hear what I'm saying and put it in your words, in your way that your partner relates to, and you implementing it in the relationship instead of saying Tony Gaskins says this, or hey, watch this video by Tony Gaskins. And instead saying, okay, let me create a game night for us that we have all these questions, and these questions are in a pile like a stack of cards, and we pull one from the stack. And okay. And then now guess what? If your partner is not willing, if the man is not willing to do a game night like that, if the man is not willing ever to open up and communicate, then that's when you have someone that is relationally retarded, in the sense of not a derogatory term, but meaning that person is incapable of growing in a relationship with you. That person is incapable of stretching, of getting out their comfort zone, of going to the next level. And that is the end of the relationship. Do not be a prisoner to someone who refuses to grow and to change, evolve, whatever you want to call it. Do not stay with somebody like that, because guess what? We all, even though we may not know any better, even though we may have never seen, when we are made aware of our blind spots, when it is brought to our attention, we have the ability to learn and to grow and to adapt. And if we don't do that, then we do not deserve a relationship until we learn that we have to do better in order to have better. And you have to understand that, and don't go back and forth on that. And so get to the understanding to be able to realize that a man is insecure, and that insecurity breaks down in different ways. So he can be insecure, and that plays into being immature. So when a man goes to emotionally cheat, it's really just a thrill. For example, and I could do a separate video on this. Somebody sent me a video of a young lady. She was at the beach. I read Miami some in the comments, and she was in the water, and this man came up and they hugged and they talked, and they were talking, chit-chatting or whatever. And she posted, "Hey, y'all do y'all thing. Help me find this man. Hopefully he not married." Come to find out, the woman responded to her and told her, "Yes, this his number. Tell him such and such." The wife was very petty. The wife was petty. Now, see, listen, that goes together. That go together. A man who doesn't have his ring, who walks up to a woman, gets in the water with her, has physical contact with her, takes a picture with her, chats with her without his ring on, is a perfect match for the type of woman who would respond to the woman's post, give the woman her man's number, and say, "Tell him I gave you the number." Meaning, and she said her name. And then the other lady said, "Oh no, I was hoping something like this would not happen. I'm so sorry, sis. I am not going to reach out to him." And then the wife said, "No, it's his fault." And she was right. It's his fault. But guess what? A woman that's not on his level would have never responded to that woman's post. She would have dealt with him in-house, and she would have checked him in-house. And if she needed to get gone for a week, go to a friend's house or a hotel, she would have did that even with all of their kids. She would have sent a message to him, and she would have dealt with that. And now all her friends and family and everybody would have been coming to her, "Hey, I seen your man online." And she would let them know, "Listen, I heard about it, and trust me, it's being handled." And she would have never wrote that lady. Or if she would have wrote that lady, she would have said, "Hey, that is my husband. Unfortunately, God bless you," and left it like that. She wouldn't have took that extra jab to say, "Here go his number." Because guess what? What if that woman is a home wrecker? What if that woman is nasty and that woman do contact him maybe in 3 months? "Hey, are y'all still together? This such and such you met at the beach." And what if they on the outs right then? And then what if him and her start talking? The woman would actually be sick to her stomach that her child's father, that her husband is actually sleeping with this woman, even though she jumped big and bad and gave the woman her number. So guess what? They go together. They go together because it's both of them immature. And so that's what I'm explaining is sometimes what happens is the man emotional cheating is also just yin and yang, whatever it's called, with that woman, because the woman could be immature, she could be aggressive, she could be condescending, she could be emasculating. And then his insecurity sends him to seek out another woman's attention. Now, when the woman is not doing any of that, his insecurity and his immaturity go to look for it anyways. So like with this man, he bald. I think he had a bald head. He got a bald head. But when on that bald head, though, you could see the dark right here. You could see the dark, and it's like the little circle. So the reason why he went bald is because the hair grow in funny. It don't grow in coming out to here. It grow in coming to here. And it's a little U. So go bald, if I'm remembering correctly. So guess what? When your hair grow in funny, as a man, that's an insecurity. Some women have grown to like a bald head, but every man head not shaped for a bald head. My head ain't shaped for a bald head. So the men who head shaped like a baseball, my head shaped like a watermelon. A man head who shaped like a baseball or a softball, they could do a bald head. If you got a football head or a watermelon head, the bald head is not going to be flattering. So he could go bald head and then grow the beard because his face grow hair, but his head don't grow all the hair the right way. So guess what that is? What that creates is an insecurity. And so what he wants is attention from women, to feel like he has something. And even in the video, he tried to, just in conversation, he tried to flex. He tried to show muscle. He was trying to look like a X symbol in the video. Again, as a man, I could read this. So I say he insecure. He's insecure. And that's why he had his ring off. And that's why he was in the water with that woman and doing all of that. And because that made him feel good. Hey, this the man with the bald head and the beard that y'all been looking for, that y'all seen in the video. Yeah, that's me. And it's all insecurity. All insecurity. It's not confidence at all. And that's what leads men down that path, looking for affirming words, looking for a woman that's going to think he a prize. And the picture I seen with the woman looked like they had a bunch of kids. I don't know if that's him and her kids or if that's just her kids, but there's a lot of kids in there. So, hey, think on this. I got my gate calling. Gotta go.